Well, hello everybody. I hope that you are doing well and you're ready for today. As you can tell, the title of this video has nothing to do with Jordan Peterson. I think that is many weeks. What was I trying to say? Something like it's been many weeks since the title has nothing to do with Jordan Peterson or his Exodus studies. Now, that doesn't mean we finished all the Exodus studies. What it means is that Jordan Peterson's channel took down all the Exodus videos. I have no idea what that means for my channel, and I have no idea what that means for the videos that I have made, because it's no longer on their channel, and I've done reviews of the entire videos on my channel. So I don't know if I'm gonna get some kind of a email. I don't know. We will see. I mean, if I need to take them down, then obviously I'm going to take them down. There's no question about that. And it's been a joy. I mean, the cool thing is that we actually did finish Exodus, and then they were going into Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I would have loved to finish it before they took it down, but they took it down. I'm kind of been searching. So it says, so episode 1 is up, and it says 17 unavailable videos are hidden, which means we did 15, I think, last week. Basically means I think we had 3 more to do. And can't now, which is fine. Yeah. So 15 is the last one we did. Okay. Why do you think they are hidden? What's up, David? How you doing? They are hidden because they said they were going to hide them. They weren't going to be indefinitely up there. Let's remember that those specific videos were originally made for Daily Wire subscribers, and then they put it on YouTube, and then they took it down. Again, I have no idea what kind of copyright emails I'm going to get, if I'm going to get any. So far, I haven't gotten anything, but who knows? Removal requests. Okay, nope, nothing. You know, they might not. Hey man, what's going on, brother? I'm just wondering why Assyrian Christians and Armenian Christians fought against one another. When are we talking about? If you can give me some more references, then we can look it up as to why those things took place. I mean, Christians have fought each other throughout the centuries. I mean, consider the Russia today and Ukraine. Both of them are not only connected through ethnic origins, but also religious ties in regards to being Eastern Orthodox in theology. So because of some political reason, I'm guessing. So yeah, so I thought, I was like, okay, so no Peterson stuff. You know, my Mondays have been probably the greatest in regards to content creation because I haven't had to worry about anything. I've just gotten up and it's been ready to go. So I was surprised by that. I had a couple of meetings today, and by the time I came to organize this and go, and I was like, oh, they took down the videos. So I can turn on Discord. We can have a conversation via that. If you guys have anything specific you'd like me to answer, I got my Bible open. Yeah, I will spend a day doing that sort of stuff. Not Kindle. Fourth, fifth century. Where did you hear this? Can you, like, is there? I mean, Armenians and Assyrians fought each other quite a bit in the like Urartu days, but I mean, the fourth, fifth century, you had the Persians and the Armenians fighting. So I need some more there. Which talking heads slash which talking head slash heads would you remove from the Daily Wire, and who would you put as the replacement? Who? That's a tough question. So let me go through like the Daily Wire. Let's actually pull them up and look at them one by one. Daily Wire crew, because I want to be. I would like to be honest with my. Okay, so who it's beyond these people, it seems like that they're speakers, but this might make some people mad. Why you gotta ask me questions like this, bro? Why you gotta put me in that predicament? Okay, here are the names, okay? Here are the names of the Daily Wire folks. Ben Shapiro, also the co-founder. Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Andrew Clavin, Candace Owens, Brett Cooper, Jordan Peterson. Okay, so let me go through each of them and comment on them maybe. Ben Shapiro. I like Ben. I think he's a quick thinker. He's witty. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. I don't agree with everything he says, but pretty decent. Michael Knowles. I like Michael a good amount. I think he's pretty like fair-minded. He's also pretty witty and stuff. Matt Walsh. I like him. I think he's a bit rougher. Maybe, which is fine. Andrew Clavin, who I haven't listened to the most, but I like him more than all of them. I really like Andrew Clavin. Candace Owens, Brett Cooper, Jordan Peterson. I've spoken enough about Jordan Peterson. I think some of you guys know my comments about him. I've probably watched like a total of like 20 minutes of what Brett Cooper has to say. A lot of people say I know for sure, a lot of people say that she reminds them of a female Ben Shapiro. I actually thought that was his sister at one point. Um, Candace Owens, I've heard enough of. Out of this entire group, so out of Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Andrew Clavin, Candace Owens, Brett Cooper, Jordan Peterson. I put Brett Cooper aside because I don't know much about her. Candace Owens would be the one that I would replace. Now, who would you put as their replacement is a really, really good question. I have no idea. I mean, would it have to be a female is a really good question. But I don't know. Aside from you and me, who would you want on as a seventh person theology panel, like what DW does? Brett Cooper looks more like Ben than Ben's actual sister. That's hilarious. That's just really funny. Can I just like pick anyone? Nick, that's a very like broad question. Who would I like to have on a theology panel other than you and I? Do they have to be like YouTube kind of folks, or it could just be anyone? Michael Icona would be a really fun guy to have on. He's fun to talk to. Who else? You're throwing these questions at me, and I'm having a hard time because I immediately think like my friends and folks that I have like really easy access to. But in regards to like a scholarly thing, Michael Icona, my favorite YouTube guy, currently speaking, is Gavin Ortland. So I would love to have Gavin be a part of a conversation. I actually think Gavin would have a lot to bring to a conversation like that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 3 more to go. So he's a historian. The other guy's a historian as well. It'd be fun to have a really nice systematic theologian kind of sort of guy. Lee Irons would be a fun guy that's more reformed, infant baptism, in regards to his theology. Solid guy. He's been on my channel. We've talked about the framework theory. So yeah, I know all of those folks. So Lee Iron. Oh, Gavin, I've met. Can't say I know Gavin. Yeah, I mean those would be the names that I would throw out so far. Okay, I know the story of Otto the Handsome, how the queen waged war because he wanted him, but it wasn't religious. But I just don't fully understand why Christian nations clashed so much up until the Crusades when they joined forces. It'd be very interesting to see. I don't think Christian nations, quote unquote, if that's a sort of thing. I don't think there's such a thing as a Christian nation, if you would excuse me. I know how people think about this stuff. I just don't think the Bible actually sets up a system or a world in which we're supposed to have Christian nations. You could say nations that have a lot of Christians in them or whatever like that. But Why did they clash? Because people are sinners and they do sinful things, and they, even as Christians, can make wrong decisions and even come to blows and fights over theological differences because we're flawed human beings. That's not very complicated to me. I actually think probably Christian nations have fought with each other after the Crusades a lot more than they did beforehand. Predominantly, that might be because like all of Christendom was one country, max two, depending. I mean, it's the Roman Empire, and so East and West of the Roman Empire, and then they owned all of it. So who were they fighting? Well, not each other. Um, so there's kind of historical reasons for this. It's all good, man. Sorry, I'm relatively new to this. I'm learning a lot, lots and lots of information out there. Correct. And here's what the best thing you can do is read the Bible. I should invite you to our guys' Bible study. Hey, get in touch with me. Okay. I want to invite you to our guys' Bible study. I think you'd like it quite a bit if you're interested in that. But the best thing you can do is read the Bible, study the Bible, see what God has to say to you and about you before like diving into the history of how Christians have done X, Y, and Z and what. Okay? Okay. So I'll see you this week, I guess. if you want to come again. It's on Thursday nights, 7:00. A bunch of dudes get together and study the Bible. It's as simple as that. Let's do this. I'm going to open up Discord. One, two. Okay, that's coming through. And I dropped the link if anybody wants to call in. It seems like it's a slower Monday. Again, one of the things. Oh, this is actually pretty um, related to what we're talking about, and I'll put the link up for this as well. So this is, again, I mentioned Gavin, and Gavin being one of my favorite guys on YouTube. Hey, what's going on, Sky Apologetics? So Gavin put up a video today. I'm not done watching it yet, but I watched most of it. So that is a video on how to study church history and why Christians should study church history. And I thought it was very informative and good and encouraging. So check that out. Like I've said multiple times, Gavin's one of my favorite guys on YouTube. Okay, let's do this. There. Hey Joshua, how you doing? Um, just react to it live. It's your live stream. That's true. The thing is that when I listen to Gavin, um, there's not much I can say. The guy is saying a lot of stuff that I'm just learning from, and I enjoy that. I can't have opinions on stuff that I just don't know. So if he's telling us how to study church, like I can agree with a bunch of stuff he says, but all you're going to hear from me is like, wow, that's good. I agree with it. So I don't know how much actually worthwhile content there is for me to actually react to something like that and then have an opinion on it that actually matters. Okay. But again, it could be that I'm just like really clueless to, the internet and how stuff are done. Yeah, like this. Just think about it out loud. Or say that's interesting. Never thought of that. Yeah. What ways can one overcome spiritual complacency? Okay, so Joshua, I don't want to presume a number of things. Tell me a bit more as to, like, give me an example of what spiritual complacency looks like in your mind and in your heart, and then I will answer that. It's okay. I'm like fixing stuff here. As I'm on air, I'm trying to fix up my little buttons over here that are supposed to work properly. Just don't know what's going on with this guy right here. It's not running a scene. That one's running a scene. So we'll move that one there. We'll move that there. No, we'll move that there. Let's go there. There actually. What's that overlay? I forgot what this one was. That's what that does. Oh, it's nothing's assigned to it. Boom. Done. Okay, we're there. And we're there. And we're everywhere. Yes. Floating books. These are my floating books. Oh, hey, look at that. Is it okay if I bring you on the air? Just give me a thumbs up because I can't hear you. Okay. What's up, yo?
What's up, Arthur?
How you doing?
Can you see me okay?
What's
What's up,
A
yo?
little
I'm a little lagging
pixelated,
a
but
little
it's
bit.
good. Yeah,
What's
that's
up,
good.
Arthur?
Uh, there's feedback.
Okay, what about now? Is it better now?
I mean, it's
Should be
fine.
better now, I hope. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it'll probably fix up. We'll see.
I just want to say, very good show. I'm new to all this. I didn't even know you had a channel. Like, this is amazing. God bless you, an infinite amount.
Thanks, man. For those who don't know, Narek and I know each other for through many avenues. Like we've connected through many avenues. But yeah, one of
Yeah.
the ways we know each other is that we go to the same pub and we watch Liverpool, and that we're both Liverpool supporters. There it is.
That's right,
And
baby.
so he's probably had a
Yeah,
couple of
just,
heart attacks like I've had in the last couple of weeks. So
oh, yeah.
so did you
I just
randomly
want to
come
say,
across
I'm
my
going to keep
channel?
it quick. Like, I just randomly came across it, man. Like, I've been watching a lot of videos and just like getting into, more so than ever because I just got back from Armenia. Like in August, I went for the Pan Armenian Games
Oh
for
yeah.
basketball. And man, let me tell you, I went to so many churches, so many beautiful places. I just got like a fire inside me, man. Like I was already kind of, I was into it before, like, but it wasn't wholehearted. You know what I mean? It was just I had to go to the source to really feel everything, and it just took I don't know, man. I don't know what overcame me. I just being there. I went to Horvirap. I went to so many places. It was just I think not just my our origins as Armenians, but just in general, like you know
Yeah.
what happened and what's the truth. And I haven't fully read the Bible. I started when I was young, but I never followed through with it. I kind of got turned off by like certain people, unfortunately. I shouldn't have never let that get to me, but just slowly making my rounds back and coming back to Armenia really pushed me that way. Just hearing all the stories and being in those lands it just did something. I don't know. That's why I
That's
just came
interesting.
across your channel. Yeah, I've been looking at, but
You cut off
yeah,
there. You
that's how
said
I
I've
came
been
across your
looking at.
channel is by
You said
chance.
that you got cut off.
Oh no, I've been looking at like just yeah, I've been looking at videos like the Daily Wire, all like random videos, just searching, and like your channel just popped up like a week or two later,
That's so cool.
like out of nowhere, and I know your face. I just saw your face. I'm like, oh my god, it's Arthur. Like I know that face. So that's how I came across. I had no idea,
That's cool. So it's very
but
interesting.
I'm really
I know a
happy,
guy.
man.
Let me
This
tell
is
you a
like
story. This is funny. And it's cool. I know a guy. He's an Iranian guy, and he comes from a really religious Muslim background, and he basically like essentially gave up Islam. Didn't know what he was doing, but he was in Armenia and he walked into a church,
yeah,
and he's like, that's the first time I ever really experienced God.
yeah.
And so he's a good. I don't want to give too much
Oh
information
man.
out there, but he's a really good friend, and he does ministry now. And he had a crazy experience just walking into a church, and he was like, God just, I don't know, touched
Yeah.
me, and just he was changed. He's been changed.
Sometimes
Like,
that's all it takes.
yeah, the crazy thing is like when I give examples
Yeah.
like this is like this dude actually like gave up his family, man. Like he's lost everything for the sake of Christ. Like
Wow.
I haven't given up
Wow.
0.001% of the stuff that this guy's given up for Christ. And it's really
Yeah.
insane.
Real conviction, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's some of it's forced, right? Like some of it's like when I started following Jesus, my family like didn't kick me out and into the streets and stuff like. But like in some for some people in some places, that's actually what that means. It's you follow Jesus and that's it. You're done.
You're out. Yep.
Yeah, and so
That's sad, man. That's sad.
it is. It's very sad.
But I think there's something about those lands. I mean, I truly believe in going to the source of, like, if you want to find out something for yourself, if you want to feel or experience something, you got to go to the source of it yourself. You can't go on the internet or ask people, or you have to go yourself. You have to open your heart, feel it. Like I was open when I went. I was purely open. I'd let everything like just do its thing, and man, I was just. Until now, I'm still thinking. I can't stop thinking about stuff. I can't stop thinking about. I feel like I need to go to step one, and I think I'm getting a little like ahead of myself, trying to figure out the history of things. When history changes a lot. Like people change all sorts of stuff. By the time it gets to you, who knows if it's even true or not? So
yeah, and I
think I need to go back to like step one and just look inward.
I'd say that's the best thing you can do is actually look at like the Bible and read the Bible, study the Bible. I mean, we can generally get it just depending on how much information we have from a certain historical period. Actually, the link I sent is really informative because the guy who made that video is an actual academic historian. He's a church historian, and so he speaks about like doing actual history, academic history, as opposed to kind of what people do, like they just sort of talk about stuff. Like one of the things he says is like this thing that we learned probably like throughout school of what is commonly referred to as the Dark Ages, right? Like, so a lot of historians actually think that terminology is like a sort of a propaganda that the Renaissance people came up with, like Enlightenment kind of thinking, Renaissance Enlightenment thinking, where they refer to that time period as the Dark Ages, and kind of to look down on them as to their philosophical worldviews and stuff like that. Because there's quite a bit of literature, there's quite a bit of thinking and philosophy and theology that's being done in the quote-unquote Dark Ages. And so yeah, like these things matter. It's sort of the way we look at like postmodernism as opposed to modernism. Like we try to look at these ideas in a very chronological kind of way, and it's not always that easy. It's not always that simple. I mean, you have modernist and postmodernist times, and then you have postmodernist and modernist times. So it's important to do that. But I would say if you're thinking about the Bible, if you're thinking about God, the best place to do that is in the Bible. Because historically, if you look at it, I mean, there's people that I respect quite a bit who say a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. But the reason why I don't agree with them is not because, per se, of Arthur. It's because I don't think the Bible actually teaches that stuff. So it goes to, like you were saying, goes to the source. The idea of actually the Renaissance is to go to the sources, right? Like, so like 1500s and on, a lot of the thinking pattern in Western Europe becomes, let's rediscover the sources. So people were learning original languages. People were trying to go back and see how and why people did certain things. And that's sort of what you're talking about. So I agree with you. I took some non-Armenian friends to Armenia. And we were there, and it was me, another Armenian Armenian woman from our church. It was a Hispanic guy that's married to an Armenian, and then it was my one of my friends who's Indian. And we were standing there. I say that because of the cultural kind of diversity. And there was even a difference between me and the Armenian girl that I was born in Armenia. I came here when I was 11. She was born and raised here. Been back to Armenia. So we view things a bit differently. And my friend who's Hispanic, at one point, we went to Horvidap. And so we were looking at the mountain. We stopped by the side of the road because there was like a beautiful, clear view of the mountain on that day. And we took some pictures and stuff. And then my buddy goes, "Hey, bro, this is where God restarted the world." right? And I was like, yes. Like, and he was
I
just like
know. It's
overwhelmed with
insane.
it. He was really like overwhelmed with that, and like the meaning that just has for Christian history, for world history, for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then so since then, I've actually used the term for people who live in that region. I say they live in the shadow of the mountain.
Wow. Yeah.
And it really is like for those who've never been to Armenia, those people who've never been to Armenia, you won't really understand this because you can see Mount Ararat from anywhere in Armenia. It's always
Yeah.
there. It's constantly present. This is partly why Armenians can't get it out of their psyche. So even when they're not in Armenia,
Yeah.
they have a painting of Mount Ararat on their wall somewhere, kind of like a window looking out into
Yeah.
it. You can write a whole psychological
Yeah.
paper as to why every Armenian has a picture of a mountain or a painting of a mountain that no
Mountain.
longer belongs to them, right? Like, and it literally, the painting makes it look like a window because when you're in Armenia, when you look out of windows, you're seeing the mountain. And
Yep.
so it's kind of ingrained in our psyche and stuff like that. But that's just the reality. Like, and if I want to really symbolically speak about this, I'd say something like, we all live in the shadow of the mountain because when God recreates the world, there's a new covenant that's established with humanity, right? I will not destroy you with water again, so on and so forth. And again, yeah, like being there is very different than reading about. I mean, reading about stuff is really, really cool. The next step is probably picking up an atlas or some kind of a map and to know like what you're reading about. But one of the best things you can do when you're studying these sorts of things is like go, if you have access to go to the places that these things actually happened in. So like people take Holy Land trips to Israel because they go and they're like, oh wait, Jesus was in this garden or Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount in this area.
Yep.
And sometimes it changes your interpretation because it might say he got up on a mount and started speaking. And then when you go there and you realize that mount is not a very large mountain, it's kind of a hill.
Yeah.
That just, again, you get a better understanding and perception of it. But yeah, it traveling definitely does that. And just like being connected, like one step away connected from like thousands of years of history.
Oh man, what a feeling it is to all those crosses and the khachkars and everything. Just it really is overwhelming, to be honest. Like you don't know how to process it. It's so beautiful at the same time. There's some pain involved. There's also lots of like it's just everything at once. Especially when we were in Horvath, it was probably the hottest day of the year. It was like August.
Oh yes.
I don't even know what day it was. Oh my God, it was so hot, dude. But I went down there. I stayed there until they kicked me out. I stayed there. I stayed down there, and I just I couldn't believe, the story. Obviously, you know the story. Saint Gregory the Illuminator, like that. That just fascinated me. Everything. I was just thinking, like, I mean, technically, didn't Christianity just start from this hole and just go up into the light? I was thinking, just putting things together, but it's not really not that simple. But I was just thinking, looking up at the place where the princess was dropping food for him. The stories and all that. I don't know. I was just putting myself in that. It was really inspiring, and it gave me a lot of. I don't know how to say it. It's like I've always had passion for things in life, but this is
motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Motivation. Yeah, and it was great. It was just a great experience. I can't wait to go back, and I couldn't get my mind off I couldn't get my eyes off the mountain. Anytime you were around the mountain, I was just staring at it, just meditating, and it was just a beautiful place to go. And I was born there too, Arthur. But I came here when I was really young, so I don't know. I don't remember it too well. I was born in Ashtarak, so to me, everything is like
you were born in a very ancient capital of
big
Armenia.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean Ashtarak is a very, very historical place.
Yeah, I was born in Ashtarak. I didn't get a chance to go, but just I love it. I love it all, and I'm curious about other cultures too. It's not just Armenia, because we're Armenian, so obviously we're going to just naturally be. But we have this connection to, really feel like a lot of people, regardless of your religious background or anything. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
People should experience those kind of things. Especially spiritual places. It really helps people because when you're not feeling the best or you're questioning a lot of things and all that, and all it takes is a simple trip to a dungeon in on the bottom of a church to feel something, and that's what
Yeah.
it did for me. I don't know about everyone else. I'm sure my entire basketball team felt the same, but it was just a
Yeah.
great experience. Everyone was we were hot and stuff, but it didn't matter. Like nothing mattered that day. We went from like
One of
church
the
to church
things
to church. We went all over, so it was awesome.
I have loved those trips. The last time I was in Armenia was about 2 years ago now. I couldn't go last year, but
Yeah.
so we went up north and visited churches that are kind of in more remote places. They're a bit more difficult to get to, but
Yeah.
so that was a really fun trip to do.
Okay.
To go north and come back. What I would say is it's not just the places, right? It's the connection to the people in those places. So I mean, a hole in the ground
Okay,
is a hole in the ground, right?
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings kind of stuff?
Am I a fan?
Yeah, like have you seen the movies
Can you see
or
me?
what is that? Is that Elvish?
That's Elvish, brother.
What does that say?
Yes, it is.
What does that say?
It's a riddle actually in Elvish.
Is that from
It's a riddle in Elvish. I got this when I was. We got this.
wait, is that
It's
from
Tengwar. It's like Elvish from. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, me too.
So J.R. Tolkien starts off essentially the story by saying, "In a hole in the ground," right? Like that's where the story is
Exactly.
from
That's
and
literally
about.
the first words of the.
Yeah, and it's like but this hole is different. This is a different hole in the ground, right? This is a special sort of hole in the ground, and this person that lives there is an ordinary, overlooked kind of person or species. The hobbits aren't anything special, and that's really, I think J.R. Tolkien really tries to drive that home. Is there's nothing really ordinary, visibly speaking, about the hobbits, but then we realize through the story that they're extremely special. That the individuals that at least Gandalf deals with, like Bilbo and Frodo are very, very special. They get to do things that nobody else can do, right?
Not corruptible.
Yeah.
You don't get corrupted easily.
Yes. What I'm saying is, like, if you're thinking about like Middle Earth and you're thinking about holes in the ground, because the way you said it was very interesting. It immediately took my mind there. But I didn't even know that you liked Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm actually currently reading the Silmarillion with my kids.
Oh wow! Oh,
yeah. And
great books too, man. I highly suggest people read them too.
So I don't know if you know about J.R. Tolkien's kind of Christian faith and where he stood on all that stuff. Okay. Oh man, I wish.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I went to a play recently.
Amazing guy.
I went to a play recently, Narek, and it was J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis in conversation. And I'm going to find out, because it was supposed to end and then they said they were extending it. I'm going to find out if it's still going on. And if it is, we're going to go together. Okay? I'm going to make it in a way where we can.
LA? Los Angeles area?
Yeah. It's in Hollywood.
Okay.
But they were going to end the show, and then what ended up happening is that they extended it.
I've never heard of it.
Dude, it's really cool. It's like two guys in conversation, two friends in conversation. They're talking about their stuff. But I think the connections that are there, it's the journey, right? It's Bilbo going and coming back a different person. It's Frodo going and coming back, and he's a different person. Like there's something about the journey that they go on that changes them forever. And maybe one of the ways that I would put it, and a lot of other people have put it, is that the Christian life is a journey, and it changes you. And it changes you drastically. Like when I started living the Christian life at 18 years old, I had no understanding I had no real knowledge, I would say, of the Bible, of God, and what that looks like, and how I view the world, and how I interpret world events, how any of that stuff. And in my study of the Bible, like that's ground zero. That's my anchor. That's what keeps me grounded. Everything else, church history, philosophy, like apologetics, all that stuff is really, really cool, and I love it. But the Bible is where I get my grounding. And in that journey, so it's been like 20 years now. I just turned 38, so it's been 20 years I've been following Christ. And you're changed. You're changed in very interesting ways. And I'm at an age right now, which is very interesting because, so you've seen my son, right? Like you've seen him, you've played soccer with him, and like I'll go to games. I'll go to games. Yeah, you guys share long hair. So like I'll go to games and I'll interact with people, other parents and stuff like that. And then I kind of sit back at times and I go, why are these people who are about the same age as me and they have kids and they go through very similar experiences in life not thinking about this stuff the way I'm thinking about this stuff? Because I think they're missing out something in life.
Mm-hmm.
And almost always, and I don't think there's a bias here, but almost always I come back to it and I say, it's because of my relationship with Jesus. It is because of Christianity and what that's brought into my life that I view the world differently. I interact with people differently. I interact with my kids differently. The conversations I have with my children are very, very different sorts of conversations. And because I see what's happening in people's homes, I see the kind of stuff you hear kids talking and stuff like that. But it's been that journey that like changes. So I'm very happy that you're actually like kind of rediscovering this or discovering this, however you want to put it. I'm
me too.
very encouraged by that.
I feel like it's necessary. It's very necessary, and I mean, it wasn't something I just thought I'm gonna do. It just happened. You know, it wasn't something. You know, I mean, I was seeking something, but it wasn't like oh my God, I have to do this. It stumbled upon me.
Yeah.
That, like I said, that hole in the ground. That's what it was. That moment just made everything. I was like, wow, like there's so much more to things in life, man. I don't know how to put into words, man. I wish I can. I wish I was more.
I get you. I really do.
I don't know. Good with my words, but
it's just funny
hard to explain. It's hard to explain to the Yeah.
It's funny the way you put it, that it just happened to you. Most of the time, good stories just kind of happen to you. That's just the reality of it. Like good sort of stuff. You can't plan it out. The video I was watching today, one of the things he says is, history is the sort of thing that it flows in such a way. It's got such unique experiences like that we see that it would be sort of impossible to write it. The kind of genius he says it would take, or the way you would orchestrate these things. So one of the examples he gives, actually, it's one of my favorite examples. When I found out about it, I was blown away. Is the death of Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. I'm not sure whether you know about this or not, but Thomas Jefferson and John Adams are the last two surviving founders of this country. So let's just think about that they are the last surviving signers of the Declaration. They both die on the same day, hours apart from each other, 50 years later. But here's the crazy thing. They died on July the 4th.
Oh, wow. That's America's birthday.
Is it a coincidence? Maybe, but that's a really, really cool and unique coincidence that the two last surviving members of this country die on the day that they signed and accepted the Declaration of Independence, and both of them worked on the Declaration.
Yep.
That just blows my mind. Like, if we're going to write a story, if you're going to write some kind of a really good story, you do that.
Yeah. Did you say they were 50 years apart? They died 50 years apart?
No. They died on the same day, 50 years after the signing of the Declaration. They died hours hours apart. I forget which one said what, but one of them, when he was dying, he said the other is still alive. But what he didn't know is that the other one had already passed, and he was the last. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my goodness gracious! Wow.
So
that is amazing.
Those sort of things, and again, I think people like J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis had a unique ability to see the real world that had these sorts of things in it, and then magnify it and then put it into a story and communicate that, right? Like, so like in J.R. Tolkien's writings, things will happen like in the first age, because that's where I'm reading, let's just say, that have ramifications in the third age, like 3,000 years later. The actions of that person or whatever they did is going to result in this thing happening. And again, because good literature does this, it brings the major questions of life to the surface, and then it tries to give you something to reason through those things with it. So if Bilbo finds a random ring in a cave somewhere, and he goes, well, this is cool, he kind of, he jacks it. But the point isn't Bilbo taking that. And it's weird because the whole point of Gandalf doing what he does with the Bilbo is to defeat the dragon so that Sauron doesn't have a dragon. But what ends up actually happening is the ring falls into the hands of Frodo, who is able in a very wounded sort of state, in his weak state, to carry this very, very powerful thing with him. It's phenomenal. Like these sorts of stories, that's why they're so rich. That's why they survive time. Good literature is able to survive time. And I think we can resonate with that stuff.
I personally think that's one of the greatest stories that a person can write, because it has a lot of references. It has a lot of biblical references too. I mean, it's pretty amazing, And when I first saw the movies, I didn't catch them. I didn't notice it too much. And then once you get older and you start, like, oh my God, like this means that, like this 12, the Fellowship and all this stuff. It's just, it made me fall in love with it even more. And I just think it's just beautiful. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. It's a beautiful story. I mean, that guy J.R.R. Tolkien, he was a master of language. He was he was right on with all of his stuff, man. He knew his stuff, and like I wish he actually finished The Return of the King. I think he died while he was almost done with it, and his son kind of took over at the end. But
I know his son has finished certain things. His son, the Silmarillion is finished by Christopher Tolkien. But he had so much written, and there was so much more that he could write because of the world that he had created. It's an open world. It's very interesting. And when you read his stuff, everyone's genealogy is put in there. It's like, oh, so and so is such and such's son, and here are his half brothers, and this is the way they're interacting. It's so detailed. It's phenomenal.
I'm so surprised. You like Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, and I
not
actually
surprised,
think,
but it's a good surprise. It's a good surprise.
I actually think Alexander Dumas is a very similar sort of writer. And
Count of Monte Cristo.
Count of Monte Cristo, The Three Musketeers. Very, very good.
They're good books too, man. They're kind of long, to be honest. Count of Monte Cristo is a big book.
Yes.
I'm surprised the movie was only like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well,
it's a long book, man.
So there's a really, really good miniseries with a French actor named Gerard Depardieu. And he acted as the Count, and it's a 4-part series. If you can get your hands on that, that is actually more accurate to the book, because in the book he goes through so many different characters. Where in the most recent movie with what's his name, is it Jim Caviezel? With him, they just cover like 2 characters really quickly and stuff like that. But in that, you should really, really watch. If you like the Count of Monte Cristo, watch the Gerard Depardieu one. Really solid stuff.
I didn't even know they had that. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you'll know Gerard Depardieu when you see him. He's got a big giant nose.
He's a famous guy. I know him. He's been in a lot of movies. He was in that, like, what's that movie? The Man in the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio. He was one of those guys. Wasn't he like the head musketeer?
Oh, he might.
Gerard Depardieu. Oh no, was the guy? I feel like he is, but I could be wrong.
It's interesting
if the name is very familiar, so I'm sure.
It would be interesting if they put him in The Man in the Iron Mask, because
he was like 2 years or some shit. I don't even know.
That's-
but I could be
yeah,
wrong.
because that story is connected to the Three Musketeers, right? Like the Mandalorian
The man
mask
Iron
is like a
Mask.
sort of like a
Did he write
sequel.
that too?
Hmm?
Alexander Dumas. Did he write that too? He wrote that story too,
The Man in
Alexandre
Iron
Dumas,
Mask?
like that.
No, I think his son did.
Hmm. Yeah, but it is tied in together. It has to be if the Three Musketeers are
You're right.
referenced in it, you know.
The Gerard Depardieu plays Porthos in The Man in the Iron Mask. You're right.
Yeah, there you go. That's him. Yeah. Yeah, I will check that out for sure. I need
So
something
yeah,
to watch
get it,
anyway.
get in contact with me, okay? Like I don't know, like Instagram. I don't want to give you my number.
I will. Yeah, I'll find a way. I'll find a way to get in contact with you, and yeah, we'll figure out from there. But I do have to get back to work. I wish I could stay here and
Okay.
talk all day. I'm at work right now, so I gotta get back to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And
it
then
was
we'll
nice talking to you guys.
you too,
Well,
man.
you personally, and maybe I'll catch you again. All right.
See you, bro.
Peace and
Thanks.
love.
You too, man.
Take
Bye. That is cool. I think it's pronounced Departu. Is it? It might be. You know, the French. If it is, I stand corrected. You're right. I think it is Departu. I would not have minded. I should say this. I would not have minded naming my son, one of my sons, Aramis. Um, Arthos is not a bad name either, but I wanted Armenian names, so those wouldn't work. So if you guys want fun names, Arthos would be a really cool name. It's kind of like Arthur. Arthos. Oh, yeah. Mm. Bro, I always have stand up during. I'm confused. Bro, I always have stand up. I don't know what you're talking about, Flix. I mean, you have stand up. Any chance you'll interview Michael Jones? Tell him all the cool people are doing it. What, interviewing Michael Jones? All the cool people are interviewing Michael Jones, or all the cool people are doing what? Coming on my channel. It's which one is it? Yes. There is a chance of interviewing Michael Jones. That's on the cards. Hey, take care, bro. Enjoy. We'll do this, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll call it a day here. And then I'll see you guys. Who knows? I might come back tonight. Gonna be somewhere. We'll see. If not, then tomorrow. But I'm gonna try to stream earlier in the day tomorrow. Again, I'm trying a bunch of stuff out. So we appreciate the conversation today with Narek. Yep. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.